What's up, guys? It is Brian here. Today, going to be doing my first career retrospect on a certain 49er personnel. In this video, I'm going to be doing it on Eddie DeBartolo Jr., the owner of the 49ers from 1977 to 2000. What can I say about Eddie DeBartolo that a lot of people don't already know? Winning 5 Super Bowls as an owner, the most in NFL history for a single owner, managed one of the greatest teams, greatest dynasties in NFL history. I just don't have anything else to say about him, but I'm going to be doing a career retrospect on him right now. But before I get the video started, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you do, please like and subscribe if you're new to this channel. That helps out a lot. So let's just get this video started. Now, a little bit about Eddie DeBartolo Jr. He was born in Youngstown, Ohio on November 6, 1946. He came from the University of Notre Dame, and his father, Eddie DeBartolo Sr., owned a lot of teams back in the day, pro teams, and particularly the San Francisco 49ers. And in 1977, he decided to give operational control to Eddie DeBartolo Jr. You would think with him as the owner, his legacy, that it started off in a really good way, but it did not. He hired Ken Myers after firing popular coach Monty Clark, which a lot of people back in the day were pretty upset that Monty Clark got fired for this guy, and Joe Thomas ends up becoming the general manager of the 49ers, and it was a pretty disastrous run, I would say. So first season, going 5-9, third in the NFC West, nothing too crazy right there. I guess it's a new regime, you can't really blame them. But in 1978, they hit an all-time low, going 2-14. They had a new coach in Pete McCauley. This is kind of like Jed York from back in the day in 2014, 2015, hiring all these coaches until finding the right coach. Also, 1978, Joe Thomas decided to make one of the goofiest trades in NFL history, trading for O.J. Simpson from the Buffalo Bills. And you're wondering, O.J. Simpson, one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, 14-game, 2,000-yard season. What can go wrong, right? But this is the O.J. Simpson that was pretty much washed up and pretty much done playing football. He didn't really do anything special, and Joe Thomas ended up getting canned as well in 1978. And in 1979, they decided to hire Bill Walsh as the head coach of the 49ers. Now you're going, oh, Bill Walsh, offensive innovator, West Coast offense, right? But no, first season, he ended up going 2-14 as a head coach. His first season as a 49er head coach, 2-14. Wow, not good, not really impressive. It was pretty disastrous. They didn't really have anyone else. And in 1980, they ended up going 6-10. But there's a key moment in the 1980 season. This is the part where Joe Montana did his little rally, did his Joe Cool thing, and ended up coming back in Week 14 against the New Orleans Saints, 28 points down to win 38-35. Ridiculous. One of the biggest comebacks in NFL history. And although they didn't make the playoffs that year, this was a sign for things to come. And it was a sign for things to come, because in 1981, the following year, they ended up going 13-3, winning the division title for the first time in a long time. Ended up winning the Super Bowl against the Cincinnati Bengals. But beforehand, they played the Dallas Cowboys. They had to beat the big boy, Tom Landry, Dallas Cowboys, and ended up beating them in the most dramatic fashion in NFL history, with the catch from Joe Montana to Dwight Clark to get a berth in the Super Bowl to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. And that's when the dynasty was born for the 49ers. So from the 1980s, they won 4 Super Bowls. In the 1990s, they won 1 with Steve Young. Just fantastic ownership under Eddie DeBartolo Jr. A lot of players have credited him for how the 49ers were a dynasty. You can ask great players, Hall of Famers, Joe Montana, Young, Rice. They all call him as the most caring owner in NFL history, and there's no other family approach. There's no business way that any other NFL owners have done back in the day. Eddie DeBartolo cared about his players. He cared about everyone that was part of the 49ers. You could be the star quarterback like Joe Montana, the head coach like Bill Walsh, and you could be the little guy that's being a janitor. He cared about every single one of those, because everyone is in it together to win the Super Bowl, and boy, did they win Super Bowls. Very impressive, and that's probably what separates him from every other ownership back in the day, and even now, because I don't really see a lot of owners in today's NFL doing the way that Eddie DeBartolo did in handling business and handling football operations, first-class hotels, first-class flights, everything. And also, another thing about caring about his players, a guy named Jeff Fuller, safety for the 49ers, he ended up paralyzing himself on a tackle, and it was pretty bad. And Eddie DeBartolo decided to take care of him for the rest of his life, which was epitome of his ownership as the 49ers. He really cared about his players, and that just showed right there the top prime examples. I can't really say anything else about Eddie DeBartolo and his tenure as a 49ers. He ended up going 226 wins to 131 losses to 1 tie, but unfortunately his tenure ended in 1999 when he was caught in a scandal with Edwin Edwards, the former Louisiana governor, in 1998. DeBartolo ended up pleading guilty to a charge of failing to report a felony and received a $1 million fine and 2 years probation. So that pretty much ended his tenure. Paul Tagliabue, the commissioner of the NFL at that time, decided to suspend Eddie DeBartolo for a year from the 49ers ownership, and in 2000 he ended up giving control to his sister Denise York and her husband John York, and in turn they decided to give the football operational side to Jed York, which he is currently our CEO for the 49ers, and we'll see if Jed York can live up to Eddie DeBartolo. So far he hasn't. He's been goofing up a lot of things, but I don't want to talk about Jed York right now. Legacy: 5-time Super Bowl champion, Base Area Sports Hall of Fame in 2008, 49ers Wall of Fame in 2009, and last but not least, Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee in 2016. It took a long time for him to get inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, maybe because of ownership stuff, maybe because of the scandal with Edwin Edwards, but it finally took him that long to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and rightfully so, deservingly so. Congratulations on a Pro Football Hall of Fame induction from a couple of years ago, Eddie DeBartolo. Really good. So yeah, that's pretty much my closure for Eddie DeBartolo career retrospective of his career as the owner for the 49ers. If I had to call him the greatest owner, he is the greatest owner in NFL history by a large margin. I cannot see any owner being the way that he handled business, the way that he was winning, the way that he treated players as family. I've never seen any ownership like this in the past and in the present as well. So I've got to give him a lot of credit for that. And also, they were part of the 18-game road winning streak, and that probably had something to do with Eddie DeBartolo doing with the first-class thing. Although he did have really good players, don't get me wrong, the 49ers were a fantastic team in the 80s. But, hey, the way they traveled, the way that Mr. D handled it made it a lot easier to win 18 games in a row. No team, no regime has ever even came close to winning 18 games in a row on the road. Let's just say on the road. So very impressive. Eddie DeBartolo, one of the great careers in NFL history. I can't say anything else. Thank you guys for watching this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my career retrospect, my first episode or first series on this. And I hope to do another player next week. And I'll see y'all then. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Y'all have a good day.